Every morning, as you step onto your porch with a warm cup of coffee, your backyard seems to have already been awake for hours. From the shrubs along the fence, the tall maple tree in the corner, or somewhere high above on a rooftop, birds are calling constantly. Most of us assume those sounds are simply part of nature, pleasant background noise that makes a morning feel complete. But the truth is far more fascinating. Over decades of research, scientists have discovered that these sounds are anything but random. They form an astonishingly sophisticated communication system. Every call, every song, and every subtle change in tone can carry a specific message. Some calls signal danger, some gather a group together, some announce food, and some may even concern the giant creatures living in the middle of their territory. That's us. Right there in your familiar backyard, an invisible information network is operating from dawn until dusk. Different bird species constantly exchange information, share warnings, and make collective decisions. What makes this even more remarkable is that you are part of that conversation. And by the end of this video, you may never listen to birdsong the same way again. In the world of North American backyard birds, there is one tiny species so small that many people barely notice it. It slips quickly between branches, with a black cap, white cheeks, and a body that moves almost like a shadow. This is the chickadee. And if you have ever lived in a place where chickadees visit, you have probably heard their famous call, chick-a-d-d-d. At first, it sounds cheerful, simple, almost cute. But hidden inside that little call is one of the most sophisticated warning systems in the backyard. Most people assume the repeated D-D-D at the end is just part of the bird's song. But the truth is far more interesting. The number of D notes can change depending on how dangerous the threat appears to be. When a large predator, like a hawk or a big owl, passes by, a chickadee may add only a few D notes. The danger is real, but large predators are often less agile when moving through tight shrubs and small branches. But when the threat is smaller, faster, and able to slip through dense cover, the call becomes more intense. More D notes, faster, sharper, more urgent. This is not just fear, it is a message. Pay attention. This danger is serious. And what makes it even stranger is that chickadees are not the only ones listening. Other backyard birds, such as nuthatches, woodpeckers, and small neighboring species, understand the warning too. One chickadee call can change the mood of an entire yard within seconds. Some birds go silent and hide deep in the bushes. Others move closer, gather together, and mob the predator until it leaves. So while you may be standing by the window thinking you are hearing one small bird call, the backyard security system may already be active. A warning has been sent, a group decision has been made, and it all begins with a few tiny D notes. If the story of the chickadee surprised you, what comes next is even more remarkable, because those warning messages are not meant only for other chickadees. For many years, scientists assumed that each bird species lived in its own communication world. Chickadees communicated with chickadees, woodpeckers communicated with woodpeckers, sparrows paid attention only to sparrows. But the truth is very different. Right in your backyard, many bird species participate in a shared information network. They do not just listen to their own kind. They also monitor and interpret signals coming from entirely different species. Researchers call this phenomenon heterospecific eavesdropping. It sounds a little like espionage. And in many ways, that is exactly what it is. A sparrow may not understand the full language of a chickadee, but after thousands of generations living side by side, it has learned the most important signals. Alarm calls, predator warnings, assembly calls, messages that everything is safe. It's similar to someone who doesn't speak a foreign language but still understands when somebody shouts, "Run!" And within this network, one species often serves as the neighborhood's most trusted alarm siren: the blue jay. Blue jays are famous for being loud, bold, and exceptionally alert. They often perch high above the yard, giving them a wider view than many smaller birds. When a hawk appears in the distance, blue jays are frequently among the first to spot it. Then suddenly, the call erupts. Sharp, loud, impossible to ignore. What is fascinating is that other birds usually do not stop to verify the threat for themselves. When a blue jay sounds the alarm, the entire backyard reacts almost instantly. Birds feeding on the ground disappear into cover. Birds sitting at feeders launch into the air. No one waits for a second opinion. No one asks for proof, because this system is built on trust. After countless generations of shared experience, birds have learned that ignoring a reliable warning can cost them their lives. In their world, speed matters more than skepticism. What most people never realize is that during moments like these, a backyard functions much like a miniature city. Each species has a role. Some specialize in spotting danger. Some broadcast warnings. Some help spread information farther across the landscape. Together, they operate a communication network that requires no wires, no internet, and no technology. Only sound, only attention. And just when you think your backyard is filled with random birds going about their day, the truth is that an organized community is working behind every branch and leaf. A community where everyone is connected. But the bird's social network is not only about danger warnings. It also carries softer, more private conversations happening among the very branches you see every day. Look at the cardinal, one of the most familiar backyard birds in America. The male stands out with his bright red feathers, often singing from a fence post or a high branch. But what many people do not realize is that the female also has an important voice in family life. Even while sitting in the nest, a female cardinal may sing quietly to communicate with her mate. Those soft notes can work like private messages, "Bring food here," or "The chicks need care." To us, it may sound like a few gentle notes hidden in the bushes, but to the male, it can be a clear instruction from his partner. And beyond family life, cardinals also keep a social map of the neighborhood. They recognize the voices of familiar neighbors. If a cardinal from across the fence begins to sing, they may understand that this is a known neighbor, not a serious threat. But when an unfamiliar voice appears near their territory, everything changes. The male may sing louder, move closer, and become more tense. In his world, a strange voice is not just a new sound. It could mean a rival competing for food, a mate, or a nesting space. And if cardinals are like neighbors, carefully guarding their boundaries, crows are like the sharpest minds in the community. Crows do not just call, they remember. They can recognize human faces, remember who has threatened them, who leaves food behind, and who passes through without causing harm. In some places, crow calls may even carry local differences, almost like regional accents. That means the crows in your neighborhood may be sharing information in their own way. A rooftop with food, a dog that chases birds, a homeowner who steps outside early every morning, and possibly you too. That quiet backyard is not nearly as silent as it seems. It holds family calls, territorial negotiations, shared memories, and invisible labels attached to familiar faces. Not every sound in the backyard is an alarm. Some bird sounds are so small you may barely notice them. A few soft, low chip notes scattered through the bushes as a flock moves across the yard. But those tiny sounds reveal something important. They are contact calls, a way for each bird to say, "I'm still here. We're still together. This place is still safe." When sparrows, chickadees, or nuthatches move along a fence line, they do not travel in complete silence. They keep connected through short, gentle calls, like invisible threads holding the group together. If one bird stops hearing the others, it may slow down, change direction, or call back. What many people never realize is that these peaceful sounds also say a lot about your backyard. A place filled with alarm calls is a place under stress, but a yard filled with soft, steady contact calls is a place where birds feel safe enough to keep feeding, moving, and communicating. So, the next time you hear those quiet little chip notes outside your window, do not dismiss them as background noise. They may be a sign that your yard has earned their trust. A silent verdict, but a beautiful one. This place is safe.